Hey kids, I'm back. Here we go. So we're going to talk about Mace Bell. So if you like working with the Mace Bell or you have one, you can get them from On It. I think Perform Better sells them. They're just down in Rhode Island. So you can get one. I'm probably back ordered, depending on what's going on out there. But you can also make your own Mace Bell, make your own club bells. So just go to YouTube. You can find some of that stuff there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over Mace Bell Flow numero 2, number 2. It's a Mace Bell flow that I made up last year. It's on YouTube. It's on the Mindful Movement Coaching YouTube channel. And we're going to break it down a little bit and go over it today. It's got maybe some intermediate type moves into it. So, if you're into it and you like doing that type of stuff, we'll talk about it a little bit more. And then you can go back and revisit it on the YouTube channel in case you need to jog your memory. Okay, so what we're going to do to start, we need to break down the moves a little bit, and I'm going to adjust the camera and move back appropriately here. So we're going to break down the moves to start, and then we'll put it all together. So the very first move that you're going to see in Mace Bell Flow number 2 is a 360. So you should have some familiarity with how to do the 360. I'll give you a very quick breakdown of the 360. You hold the Mace Bell, and in this case I have my left hand on the bottom, right hand on the top. Very simply, a little drill to help you keep this in your toolbox. If you take your top hand and you point your top finger off to the side, that is the direction that the spear is going to go. It's going to go over your, my left shoulder. If you take your bottom hand and you point that finger to the other side, that is the side your grip, your two hands go on that side of your head. So I'll do it slow and controlled. So if you see here again, I point my right finger to the left. That is the direction the spear is going to go. And if you see, I'm going to do this slow. My hands will come to the right side of my head. The Mace Bell will travel behind my back, and I pull this over. What I've been telling everybody is really important that you bring your hands to the opposite side of your head that the Mace Bell or the spear is going to travel. Because if you don't, there's a tendency for people to go ahead and just bring it over the shoulder. Well, look at what direction the Mace Bell goes. The Mace Bell goes right toward the butt. And you might smack your tailbone or a part of your body, and you don't want the Mace Bell to hit your body. The Mace Bell at no point in time should be touching your body during the 360. So, to review, watch. I bring my hands to the opposite side, and now when I do that, the Mace Bell will naturally travel in the frontal plane, okay? So it's gonna pass by me this way. It does take some practice. There are some drills we can go over. I'll do tutorials later on how to do a 360. All right, so the other move that you'll see in Mace Bell 2 is an alt switch. And those of you that have been working out with me with the Mace Bell, you got your alt switch together. That's one of the very first things we work on. So if you want to break it down real nice and easy, it's called prayer position. We bring the Mace Bell up, and then this hand comes here, and you can see I'm in this little prayer position. And I continue letting this travel across here. So I'll do this in kneeling so you can see a little closer. I bring it, prayer position, and across. Now one of the tricks I mentioned to people, it's not a trick, but cues that I think is helpful. Maintain a degree of intention with the movement so that you can maintain centrifugal force and contact with the entire handle of the Mace Bell. A lot of people would bring it up, let go, and just kind of throw the Mace Bell around. That's not preferred. What I like to see people do is keep in contact. Both hands are in contact with that Mace Bell as the hands are opening the grip and they slide across. That's really important. All right, so that's one of the other moves that you'll see in there. And then the other move, we used to call it sharpshooter. I think they changed the name to archer press. But one of the concepts we like to use with the Mace Bell is creating tension. It goes with any exercise implement for that matter, especially body weight. Maintaining tension where there isn't any, okay? So the term like a yielding isometric can be thought of in this sense. So I'll do this in half kneeling for you guys, or tall kneeling here. So what I'm going to do in the archer flow, I'm holding the mace bell in that alternated hand position. That's what we call it, an alt switch. You're in an alternated hand position. Typically, the hand closest to the sphere is palm up, while this hand is palm down. Now, in the sharpshooter or archer press, we try to keep a straight wrist, and I keep this elbow at the same level of my shoulder. Very attentive to the aesthetics I create as I push in this direction here. Now, as I'm pushing, I'm actually resisting. So I'm thinking about trying to collapse the mace bell like it's my G.I. Joe telescoping antenna, walkie-talkie. So that's my stupid little analogy. So what we're gonna do here is, with my unweighted hand, I'm gonna push. And with the weighted hand that's holding the sphere, I'm gonna resist that push. But I'm gonna let it move. And you should feel a nice little burn in that bicep. So that's one of the other moves. So we do an alt switch, and then we can try the archer flow in this direction as well. Again, pay attention to those aesthetics. Very important. Now, let's, the other move that's in the flow, number 2, is a squat. So I'll talk a little bit about squat mechanics. There's often a discussion about, should we do squats really wide, or do we want to do squats narrow? So Greg Cook and Brett Jones presented on the idea that when we squat, we want our femur to relatively be in alignment with how our shin bone is situated. So if we're here, I've got this angle load going into my tib fib, or my shin bone, on what we call the tibial plateau, and you can start to get some unbalanced loading through the knee joint. So we want to be a little more balanced, and we want to avoid any sort of shear forces that are going through there. The other thing we want to make sure that we're doing is externally rotating your feet slightly to what feels comfortable. So when you look at the mace bell flow, we don't have a wide squat stance. We have a relatively neutral stance, maybe a little wider than what we normally have for just standing, but we're not doing a wide stance. So I'm going to demonstrate the flow for you. So I start off. My feet are just slightly outside the width of my hips. Externally rotate my toes. I'm going to start with the mace bell so that my left hand is on the bottom, right hand is on the top. Then I'm going to do a 360. So the sphere goes over the left shoulder as the hands come by my right head. My hands go by the right side of my head. And now from here, watch what happens. The mace bell drops into this position. So let's do that one more time. So we're going to do the 360, and then let the mace bell, as it comes through, let it drop. Here's your beginning position. Notice my hands are by my navel. Bring it up. Hands start to come back down to the navel, and once they get to there, then I let it drop into position. Now, the mace bell is just what we'd say anatomically, about nipple line or just slightly below. I'm going to hold that in tight. And then I'm going to squat. Then I'm going to do my archer press. And then I'm going to bring it back to an alt switch. Bring this hand up, slides down. Now guess what? The mace bell is going to go over my right shoulder. And then my hands will come by the left side of my head. 360. Mace bell drop. Squat. Archer press. Alt switch, order position, that's what we call this, and let that hand slide back down. Now we're right back to where we started. So if you point your fingers on either side, you'll know where the hands go. In this case, the sphere goes over my left shoulder, hands by the right side of my head. Stop right there, keeping my hands right in front of my navel. Now drop with the mace bell, comes right across my chest. Squeeze those shoulder blades together, create some stability. Press down, nice squat, stand up, and then do your archer press. Remember those lines, nice aesthetics. Pull it back in, switch, order position, and we're back over the right shoulder. So sphere goes over right shoulder, hands by left side of the head. Drop, squat, archer press. Interesting to note, when I teach the 360, or when you first see the 360, people are like, there's no way I can do that at home. I'm going to break you're going to hit something in the ceiling. But if you pay really close attention to how you're working with the Mace belt, it's not getting any worse close to your ceiling. So just all the more reason to pay attention to the technique. If you focus on just lifting your arms to the opposing side, in most homes, you're not going to hit. Now, that doesn't mean that you should be doing this exercise while there's other people around you. Make sure that your surroundings are safe. It's really important that there's plenty of space. You have good purchase with the kettlebell. Do not, the Mace belt. Do not be afraid to use chalk if you have chalk available. And again, surroundings. So just do the 360. Like in this case, I always make sure my TRX straps are taken down and put away so that I'm not going to get caught in that. Okay, that's a little disclaimer there. So I'm going to do this a couple of directions. I'm going to do a couple so that you can see facing, and I'm going to do some in each direction. And then I'll actually do one facing away from the camera so you can get the hang of it. Okay, so here we go. All right, so gave you that from a couple different directions, and that gives me another cue that I have all my clients do too, is the Mace belt flows. The intention is once you learn them, you're doing them for time. So I'll challenge you, do that for 2 minutes. If you get 2 minutes down, try to work upwards to 5 minutes. Isaac Milan, the original steel mace coach, had us do a flow, which I don't know if I remember, but I'll have to pull it out of the memory bank. You have to do it for 20 minutes straight. So challenge yourself, learn a flow, and see if you can do the flow for 5 minutes. Non-stop, start slow. Think of it kind of like a Tai Chi type process where you're owning each position before you go into the next transition. And I can't use that, I can't take that term, that's another term from some courses. But that's a really good thought process to keep in mind. Once you've mastered, or once you feel comfortable, is a better term with the flow, challenge yourself, do it in different directions. Don't face the same direction every time. I learned a valuable lesson as a martial arts competitor. I was getting ready for a national competition for forms. I'd worked for months on this form, practicing it. It's much like a gymnastics routine. And I had practiced in front of mirrors the whole time. And then when I got up in front of the judges, I just bowed out because I totally forgot the form. I couldn't remember it. I wasn't in my same environment. So challenge yourself. Don't always face the same direction. Mess around. Try and go outside when the weather's nicer if you have a Mace belt. Like I said, go on to YouTube. You can make your own using some cement and appropriate handles out of wood or something. If you have any questions, guys, don't be afraid to send me a comment or email or find me on Facebook. You can also email me at emil@mindmovecoach.com. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe, and I'm going to do more videos, and you have a great day.